The scoring tab is where you'll select the race type, the number of scores and displacers if you're timing like a cross-country race or something with team scoring. It also determines how you're going to determine the winners. So if it's like a multi-lap race or it's like most laps completed. So maybe it's like a 24-hour challenge race and it's however many number of laps someone can complete in that time. That's where you pick most laps completed. Most races, of course, are based on finishing time. And then if it's a race that has team scoring, you've got the ability to do tiebreakers. And as I mentioned in the basic information video, if you hadn't seen it, you can click on basic information and click on the link here, and that'll show you a video just on that topic. But on the scoring tab here, if you hadn't watched the basic info, anywhere you see a question mark button, it explains all the different options and what exactly that field does. So take advantage of those. But yeah, so the scoring tab is simply for setting up teams and all that stuff. So if we were to switch this from road race, you'll see that the teams becomes disabled because you've told it there's no team scoring. Now there's people using the software for a multitude of different events. I mean, cycling and adventure races and whatever. And so some people have asked, well, hey, can you add cycling? And really all they, so far it's boiled down to these three categories. And I probably need to come up with a more generic name. But essentially what this means is a road race or anything else you want to call it means there's not going to be any kind of team scoring. It's just a standard race. So maybe that's what I should call that, standard race. And then here you got road race, team scoring, and track or cross-country race. And so there's a little bit of nuance, a little bit of change based on if you pick one of those or not. So the difference essentially here is telling the software I'm timing adults or I'm timing students. And so if it's timing adults, you'll do road race. And so whenever you're pulling up results or viewing maybe the kiosk screen or maybe the results kiosk print off or maybe the instant SMS result the software can send out, well then instead of showing someone's age or something else, it may list their class, like freshman, junior, 8th grade, whatever else, 6th grade, sophomore, senior, all those things. It may show that instead of their age because in cross country it's simply about class. It's not, they don't really care how old you are. And so that's really the difference between road race and track and cross country race. Now you will see a couple small things where if it's track or cross country, then you have the ability to do like a linking to TIFRS or and I really can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but there's again, it's more about track and field and cross country. And so if you're not doing running events, you're probably always going to do either a standard road race where there's no team scoring or a road race with team scoring. And again, the only difference between those two is if you pick road race with team scoring, the software is going to kind of prompt you and encourage you to enter teams. Whereas if you are not going to have any kind of teams, then you just pick standard race. It just lets you truck on as long as you've got divisions in there. And even that, it doesn't force you, I don't think. And so that's really the small difference in those. Let's go back over, see if there's anything on the teams we need to be aware of. So this is important. I almost forgot to point this out. So if you're timing a race, let's go and point this out here or show you. So highlight anyone that is picked up within blank minutes. So if you're doing a race, let's say you've got in this example, let me pull up another race to make more sense. So there's some races that we do like a Sylamore 50K and 25K. So let's go ahead and just do the 10K, 5K. So in this example, we've got a 10K and a 5K, and I think I've got both races scheduled to start at the exact same time. And so the problem is, what happens if someone registers for the 10K, and I've got like 2,700 athletes or 2,400, so it takes a little while to load there. But anyways, so what if I've got two races starting at the same time, but one race is much longer than the other, and of course it's inevitable, especially when we're dealing with over 2,000 people, that someone signs up for the 10K, but then at the last minute, or maybe even while they're running, decide they're going to jump down to the 5K. And so the problem is, of course, if you don't catch that, you're going to have someone winning the 10K that ran a time that obviously doesn't make any sense. Now, obviously, it's even more confusing if the time is within the realm of possibility of the 10K time. But in most cases, if someone runs half the distance, they're going to run a time that doesn't make any sense. So in this case, I can't remember if I said it actually. Let me just go back to the 10K. So there's no need to set it for the 5K because there's no distance further down that could go. Now you could set it just, so you're aware. But I think if someone ran a 12-minute 5K or less, you're going to notice it in the results. So you could use it for that. But primarily this is designed so that if someone drops down to a lower race, then you know. So let's say 15 minutes. If someone runs, for a 10K, we want to have what's the fastest I expect someone to complete a 10K in. And so let's say this race, I'm not going to expect anyone to complete it in 32 minutes. So if I go over here, save that, and I'm gonna hit time race. And so now I'm gonna pull both races in, and I'm gonna go ahead and start both races at the same time. And so let's go ahead and put in some 5K times. So I've got bib number, I'm just looking at the bibs. I should have pulled a race in that didn't have this many people. I was using this race to kind of pressure test the system. And so I've put a lot of people in and was hammering it, just having hundreds of reads coming in every second and having it take pictures and send SMS results and the public display and live export and everything the software can offer. So we're going to say starting at bib number 2000 is the 10Ks. All right, so we're going to have a 5K, and I'm going to bump the times up for both so they look a little more realistic. So let's say our first 5K person is around a 16 something, and let's bump the 10K time up too so it's the same, because again we're going to simulate the races starting together. Right. So, okay, here we go. So here comes a 5K person. Let me go back over to the results. Here we go. Everything looks good, right? It's green because it's indicating they are an award winner. So here we go. Here comes more 5K people. And then all of a sudden, here comes a 10K person. Okay. So what this is doing is saying, well, wait a minute. Someone has ran a time that doesn't make sense for the 10K. So it highlights it in orange. And so I want to point that out. That's a feature that can definitely solve some headaches on race day. Because again, as a timer, I think what you'll find when you use the software is we've been timing long enough that if it can happen, we've probably seen it. So I've tried to put any precaution I can in the software to help quickly notice anything that could be a headache during the results. So that's what that highlight, anyone picked up within a certain time, represents. Okay, so the final thing is the track or cross country. This is pretty basic. You can simply put a new team in. You can also say, maybe you got like an unattached team, right? So you can say exclude from the team results. And here you may have like a long, well, let's say, for example, where I went to college, you simply put the short name in. So like if it's Arkansas State University, you'd put simply ASU here. And the benefit with that is, let me show you a real race here. Well, a dummy race I set up, but it's a cross-country race. So here, if you were to pull up some of these, I'm going to pull up just one, varsity girls, and then if I go to public display, the names, if you do short names, it looks a lot better and cleaner on the public display. Now this you can format any way you want. You can totally get rid of this or move this around. Yeah, anything's customizable here, even colors and everything. But if you do short names, it makes the team results, the live results over here, look a lot better. So that definitely is a plus. Short names are optional. If you don't put one in, it just uses the long name. So, but that is the scoring tab. Next we'll cover the athletes tab. Again, if you want to see that, just click on athletes and then click on the same link at the top.